Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful ideas in all of finance. Seriously, this concept is the bedrock for pretty much every loan, investment, and savings plan on the planet. We're talking about the time value of money. So let me just start by asking you a simple question. Let's say I've got some cash for you. You can have a crisp $100 bill right now, in your hand. Or you can wait exactly 1 year, and I'll give you $110. What's your choice?
Now, if you're like pretty much everyone else, your gut is probably screaming, give me the $100 now. And, that's the right instinct. But the real question is, why? It's not just about being impatient. There is some cold, hard financial logic behind that feeling, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
That feeling, that immediate preference for having money in your pocket sooner rather than later, well, it actually has a name. It's called the time preference for money, and it's a fundamental principle that says a dollar today is simply worth more. It has more potential than the promise of a dollar sometime down the road.
Okay, so if it's not just impatience, what are the actual forces at play here? What gives time its value when it comes to money? Well, it turns out there are 3 really big reasons why getting paid now is almost always the smarter move than getting paid later.
So our preference for cash in hand really boils down to 3 things. First up, there's risk. Who knows what's going to happen in a year? That promise of $110 might just disappear. Second, there's consumption. You can take that $100 and enjoy it right now. And third, and this is a big one, you have investment opportunities. You could take that $100 today, put it to work, and maybe, just maybe, turn it into more than $110 in a year.
In finance, we have to put a number on this preference, right? We do that with something called the required rate of return. The easiest way to think about it is it's the price of waiting. It's the absolute bare minimum reward you need to be paid to convince you to give up your money today for a promise of more money tomorrow.
And this rate isn't just a random number we pull out of thin air. Nope, it's made of 2 key ingredients. First is the risk-free rate. That's what you get just for waiting, even on a super safe investment like a government bond. Then you add the risk premium. That's the extra money you demand for taking on uncertainty. The riskier the deal, the bigger the premium you're going to want. Makes sense, right? So if money at different points in time isn't worth the same, how can we possibly compare them? How do we make smart decisions? Well, we use a kind of financial time machine. We have these amazing tools that let us push money forward into the future to see what it could become, and pull future money back to the present to see what it's truly worth today. And these 2 main tools in our time machine are called compounding and discounting. Compounding, that's like hitting the fast forward button. It shows you the future value of your money. And discounting, that's the rewind button. It tells you what a pile of cash in the future is actually worth in today's dollars. Now, compounding is where the real magic happens. It's a pretty simple idea. First, you start with your principal. That's your initial chunk of money. Then, you earn some interest on it. But here's the crucial game-changing step. You start earning interest not just on your original money, but on the interest you've already made. It creates this incredible snowball effect that can make your wealth grow exponentially over time. Okay, so compounding shows us how money can grow into the future. That's awesome. But it brings up the opposite question, one that's arguably even more important for making decisions. What is a promise of future cash really worth to me, right here, right now? And that is where discounting comes into play. It's just the inverse of compounding. It takes that future amount of money, applies a discount rate, which is just that required rate of return we talked about, and it tells you its exact value today. This is absolutely essential for comparing different investment options and making truly smart choices. I know this can all sound a bit abstract and theoretical, but I promise you, you see these concepts in action every single day. In fact, anytime you deal with a loan, you're experiencing the time value of money firsthand. Just take a look at this simple loan schedule. See how the payment is the same each year? But look closer at what's inside that payment. In year 1, a huge chunk of it, $900, is just interest. That's the lender's reward for giving you the money now. But as you pay down the main balance, the principal, see how the interest part of your payment gets smaller and smaller? You are literally paying for the use of money over time.
So, how in the world do we compare different investments that pay out different amounts of money over different periods of time? Well, think back to our very first question. $100 today or $110 in a year?
That's a simple 10% return. The internal rate of return, or IRR, is basically a fancy calculator that finds that hidden interest rate inside any investment. It lets you compare apples to oranges so you can see which project is truly offering you a better deal.
Look, getting a handle on these concepts isn't just some boring homework assignment. It's like you're gaining a new financial superpower. It gives you this whole new lens to look at the world, to evaluate opportunities, and to really understand the true cost and benefit of the financial decisions you make every day.
All right, so let's lock in the key takeaways here. Number 1, a dollar today is always worth more than a dollar tomorrow, period. Number 2, the reason why comes down to risk, the desire to consume now, and the chance to invest. And finally, number 3, compounding is the engine that grows your money, and discounting is the tool that tells you what future money is really worth today. You know, we've spent all this time talking about the value of money over time. But it all points to a much, much bigger question. This principle doesn't just apply to your bank account. It applies to your most valuable asset of all. So now that you know how to properly value time, how are you going to invest yours?